Hello everybody and welcome to Club Deck Corner here on Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. I am your host Scott Carney and it's a full house this week. So first of all, Ali Pearson, how's it going, mate?
Not bad. It's my last day of being 35 today. I'm 36 tomorrow. It's your birthday on Saturday as well, so we're all going out for a birthday celebration at the weekend. Jamie's coming with his missus in Scotia too, and Rachel, so I'm looking forward to it on Saturday.
Yeah, looking forward to it, mate. I'll be 33. Yeah, I know I don't look it, mate, but I will be 33. Scott Gebel, how's it going, mate?
Good afternoon, guys. How's everyone?
Yeah, not bad, mate. And last but not least, Jamie Lowe, how's it going, mate?
Hello, all good?
Oh, good. Yes, Ali's, we're getting older, mate. 33. I mean, I don't even know, you're not even slightly grey yet, man, and I'm slowly turning into Santa Claus. It's a frightening rate right now, but yeah, I looking forward to it now, mate. As I say, I finish up on Friday tomorrow for a week as well, and the weather next week looks like it's going to be scorchio, so it looks like I've took a good week off. So looking forward to taking out a few drinks, something to eat, and a bit of normality, hopefully. But we are here obviously to round up some Rangers news. We're going to discuss Scotland's disappointing, but if we're honest, expected performance in the Euros and their exit, and as well look at the road to the final. We're obviously going to be discussing a certain ex-manager's continuous tour on the meltdown roadshow that he seems to be going on, because it would be rude not to mention him, because it's pretty spectacular stuff. But there is only one place to start, and it's with Rangers news. So Jamie, do you want to take it away, mate, with your bit of news this week, mate?
Yeah, sure. So something I'm always up to date on. The club have released some of their new training range for the upcoming season. So after a bit of a countdown on the website, we obviously didn't know what it was going to be. The email actually that came from the club suggested the home strip's going to be released in the coming days as well. As we know, the Castore gear has been a bit pricey. There's obviously been quality issues last season, so I think it's a big year for Castore to learn and make sure they get it right this year. It's fair to say, even in our group chat, there's been mixed reaction to some of the training pieces, which I suppose there's always going to be. But the first thing to call out is probably the crest, with the 150-year anniversary piece below the badge. I think that's really, really smart. It looks as if the crest is actually a bit bigger. And of course, they've removed the 5 stars. It sounds as if they're going to be going on the back of the kit, which I think is a nice idea as well, to keep it somewhere. So I suppose, firstly, to you all, what do you think of the new training gear? And secondly, what do you think about the crest and taking away those 5 stars?
So first off, I think you're right in what you said at the start, mate. It's a massive year for Castore. They have to get it right this year. There's not really any manoeuvre for it. Stuff falling apart, different logos falling off, etc. That can't happen this year. Castore stuff is pricey. There's no doubt about it. I had a wee moan about it as soon as I seen the price of some of the stuff. I was usually aware of it. I think it's just a wee bit too expensive, but people will pay it, so you can't really grudge them for cashing in on this. It's a massive deal for them, but this is another reason that they have to get it absolutely spot on. Obviously, the red one's the controversial one. I think the kind of red T-shirt with the gold writing on it. I'll need to wait until I see it in person. When I first seen it, I was like, that's not nice. I wasn't the biggest fan of that. Everything else that I've seen looks really nice, though, to be honest. Especially the white one with the blue that was in the superstore. Yeah. That looks particularly nice. And a few of the kind of smart polo shirts as well. They look really, really smart. Kind of golfing polos, if you like. But yeah, I like that. In terms of the crest, I think it looks brilliant. I really do. I've liked the 5 stars and not liked the 5 stars at the same time, but I think when you see the badge alone, even as what Scott's wearing just now on the kind of retro top that was released, I think that badge just looks better on its own. Yeah. I don't think it really needs added to it. But it's a nice wee touch with the wee scroll underneath for 150 years. This is obviously coming off the back of the kind of leaked picture of the the home top that it looks like it's going to be anyway with Tav. It's very similar to the one Scott's wearing just now as well. It's the white collar, white arms. It looks like that's what it's going to be. As I say, it was leaked. I'm not 100% sure. Again, the front looks like it's going to be full gold with the crest, with the Castore and with the sponsor. Again, I don't think there was really a need to go full gold for the whole thing. I think the crest maybe on its own could have been gold. Personal, again, I'm a very old-fashioned kind of guy when I look towards football and football tops, and the simpler the better. I would have liked the badge to be gold. But again, I'll need to wait until I see it in person. But, I mean, fair play to Castore. They're going to release some amount of gear this year. This is only just the start, I think. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what the 3 strips are going to be this year. Ali, your thoughts on the kit and the crest?
Yeah, the training kit, I thought, I mean, it's just a small selection they brought out first, Castore. I mean, they will bombard us with lots of
emails and emails saying new stuff.
I'll be expecting a Flag Day training kit or something will come out that they'll wear. So you know what they're like, Castore. They'll bring out lots this season. So if there is something that you don't like, there will be something that'll come along down the road that you probably will like. In terms of the red one, which you're on about, which has been controversial, if you want to call it, I didn't mind it with the short sleeves. It reminded me of a Rangers top way back.
The vest top, you mean? You want to run the vest top, you mean?
No, it's short sleeves.
No,
the vest one you're on about. I could wear the vest. To be fair, I'm back in the gym, so I could wear the vest one. But,
don't. See, if you wear the vest top, mate, I will never speak to you again in my life. I'm telling you.
I wouldn't wear that. A wife beater, but but the red top. It reminded me of a strip from. It was when I remember Stefan Givars. He's the guy I've always got in my head that wore the red top. It's similar-ish to that. I didn't mind it. You're on about the price of a lot of these tops. They're the same to last year. I mean, the Anthem jacket, I did like it. It was quite simple. I really liked it. 95 quid. I mean, that's what myself and Scott paid for our Anthem jackets last season, so I expected that. In terms of the leaked kit, I'm similar to yourself. All gold over it. I was slightly, I don't want to say tacky, but it is a wee bit slightly. I'd maybe just have, like you say, one bit gold maybe, but it looks good enough. But Castore need to get it right this year. We can't have kits falling apart. I mean, my orange training top for last year, one wash at a 30-degree cycle inside out, done within one wash. My Anthem jacket, I've got utter fear of washing that. I know Scotia's Anthem jackets, I don't know how many letters just get left on it. But they need to get it right, Castore. They had a wee bit of leeway last year because it was their first year. There was COVID. There was a lot of things excuses if you want to use. This year, there's no excuses. It needs to be bang on.
Yeah, Scotia, your thoughts on the kit and the crest, mate?
Yeah, it's kind of growing me in terms of the kit and the crest. I know we get asked this question back in the Q&A we done sort of around just after Christmas time, and it was something that I forgot to kind of mention, but I'm personally glad that the 5 stars are gone from the crest that we're wearing the badge. I think we should only ever really have that, the season after, maybe a couple of seasons after we've actually got the 50 titles, and then just put the wee 5 stars somewhere else, which actually got the 50 titles and appears to be the case. 5 stars somewhere else, which appears to be the case. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. It was something I forgot to mention at that point. The training gear kit itself all looks fairly decent. I was similar to you when I first seen the red top with the gold. I was like, it'd be a lot better with white. And yeah, as Ali says, I think it was our second kit or third kit the last time we had McCune's Lager as a sponsor.
Yeah.
It's very similar to that, and I probably would prefer it in white, but it's grown on me as I've looked at it more and more, and I think most of the stuff will grow on me. And once you see it in person as well, I've not actually bought anything myself yet. I think I'll maybe leave it and go into the shop and have a sort of browse around before I make any rash purchases, because as Ali said, there's going to be a fair amount of stuff getting released throughout the season, so save up for it all.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. Jamie, what have you not ordered yet? I'm presuming the only thing you've not ordered is the vest.
I like the vest. I've not ordered anything, to be fair. I think similar. I'd like to go into the store. There's a few things they've released that look to be only in the store. So I've spent plenty last season. Maybe give it a couple of weeks at least.
Yeah, what do you think of the crest?
I seem to spend
crest?
100. I love the crest. Yeah, I think it's really smart. I like the idea of keeping the 5 stars. I think it's to go on possibly the back of the neck. But yeah, I think I'd said that in the group chat. Like, as soon as we see the players training in that kit, you change your mind. I bet you. I can actually see you wearing the red stuff.
I probably will, mate. That's the thing. It's my first initial reaction of it was just maybe maybe it's the gold that's put me off. I don't know. As I say, you're not used to really seeing many the Rangers stuff really in gold, so it might grow on me. I'll need to wait and see, but I'll need to save for a bit. I'm telling you that for a fact, because I've got the fear of how much this home top's going to be, and I'm imagining that the away top is possibly going to be red. This is me just presuming, just based on what the training gear is. I think the way the way top looks like might be red, and then there's obviously rumours that the third might be white or purple. So we don't really know about that. But I'm looking forward to seeing them. But yeah, I expect the home top they'll just add an extra tenner or so onto it, just because it's the 150th year one, if you like. But yeah, I mean, carry on, Scott.
Sorry, Connie. I was going to say, did any of you order the Champions jersey from last season?
No,
I know that's got gold on it. So if you find someone that's got that, you'll maybe get a good idea. If it is going to be the new home kit is going to have gold, find someone that's got that, and you'll be able to have a better kind of idea.
Jamie will have it. Guarantee Jamie's got it.
I've got it.
He is Castore's prime customer, Jamie. Jamie gets an email, and immediately he's just like, oh no, I'm going to need to spend another 70 quid on this. But yeah, I say we'll wait and see. The home top looks like it might be launched this weekend, so hopefully we get to see it in person. So we'll move on from there. Scotia, we'll come to you next, mate, for your bit of news this week.
Yeah, it's long overdue news, because I was meant to speak about this in general maybe about 3 weeks back, but work kind of kept me away. But it's to do with the B team. Obviously, they got accepted into the Lowland League now. Obviously, that's a few weeks old now. But the fixture list got announced this week, and they'll be kicking off their season on Saturday, the 17th of July. Something that I didn't know, and it's quite of interest to me because it's close by, is that their home base is going to be the Dumbarton Stadium. So that's only 10 minutes away in a train for me, 15 minutes in the car. So if it doesn't clash with any home team games, the main team, that's a wee option for me. And the Lowland League itself, it's all spread, all the clubs are kind of through the central belt, southeast Scotland. So there's obviously you've got Gallifrey Dean. So there's opportunities for people to go and see Rangers that might live quite far away from Ibrox and don't really get the chance to go as well. So yeah, that came up and I thought that was fairly interesting. Wondered your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think it's now obviously that I didn't know whether I was for or against it, but I think I'm now. Scott, do you know any idea of the rules between who can actually play for the Colts team? For example, if you've got a player coming back from injury, can he go play in the B team? Can that happen?
Oh, I think I've seen something about this that they probably can't.
Right.
I don't think.
So it's not like it's not like a reserve team. It's actually like a B team.
Yeah, I think so, but don't quote me on that because I've not read into it enough. But I'm sure I did hear somewhere that was the case, that they wouldn't be able to.
Because that would obviously pull more people as well if you're getting to see a potential first teamer that's maybe coming back from injury and whatever else. But even at that, I still think it's a good thing to be able to see what could be the future of the team. As I say, I'm not sure. I've not looked up exactly where the stadiums are in relation to me, but if there's any that are within like an hour's driving of me and I'm not doing anything that Saturday, I can't see why I... Oh, is East Kilbride? So it is, mate. God, that's just up the road. I know. Yeah, there you go, man. That's... Yeah, the East Kilbride's literally just up the road, so there's no doubt I could probably go to that. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be really interesting to see, and I'm really all for it. Jamie, your thoughts on the Colts team, mate?
Good to see them getting into that level of football, and like you say, we'll see what level of players going to get involved, and the idea of being able to go and travel and see the teams a good thing. Aye, up for going to see them.
Pearson?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think the reason behind why they're playing at Dumbarton is, I know we've got the wee stand up at Auchenhowie where they could play the games there, but to play in an actual football stadium, to get them used to it and that with the fans and stuff, that's probably why they're playing at Dumbarton. So yeah, I think it's decent. Like Scotia's saying, if we weren't playing on a Saturday, for instance, and the Colts were playing at Dumbarton or even close by, I'd go along and see it. I think a lot of people would. The only thing is there'll be limited tickets because it's small ground. So I think these tickets would be snapped up very quickly. So yeah, I'm all for it and looking forward to it and seeing the development of the younger players if they can make that leap into the first team.
I think as well, when you mentioned the small stand, obviously Auchenhowie, I think that's probably the reason they've actually moved to a proper stadium, because the crowds are probably going to be much bigger than that one stand. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know if there's a capability of have people standing round the outside of the park at Auchenhowie. I wouldn't have thought so. So that's probably why they've actually chose to use an actual stadium. Scott, what's your thoughts on it? You looking forward to it?
Yeah, as I say, I'm very close by to Dumbarton, so it's not too far away from me. If I could just decide if there's a midweek game on, for instance, that doesn't clash, I can just pop along on my way back from work, because hopefully getting back up to the office shortly. One thing I did note, and they done this, well, I don't think they done this on purpose, but a lot of the women's games last season tended to clash with when we were on telly. So there was an awful lot of the women's games that I would have liked to have sat on the TV and watched a bit more, but because they clashed with our games, the first team games, I didn't. And the first Old Firm game in that Lowland League is at the moment scheduled for the 31st of July at 3 p.m. And that's obviously the league opener day. So you would hopefully it gets moved around for telly, because that would be quite an interesting game to even watch if it's available on RTV, or I think it's at whenever Celtic will be playing their home games, even if we can get it streamed from something from them. But
I would imagine. Carry on.
No, I was going to say ideally you don't want the games to clash too much, but the Lowland League needs to take care of itself, really, rather than fitting games around when we can watch.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Yeah, I think they've kind of what's the word I'm looking for? They've kind of let Rangers and Celtic as much as they're probably going to let Rangers and Celtic away with now, the fact that they've let them in the league. So I think we've used up the brownie points there. You might find, mate, that the Old Firm games for the Colts team might be moved to games like it's the first game of our season, and there might be the actual Old Firm happening, so that there's not massive crowds going to these tiny stadiums. That could potentially happen, but we don't know. Obviously, we don't know. We need to wait and see that. So right, we'll move on now. And today, UEFA have announced that the away goal rule is gone. It is no more, and it will be immediately, and it will be happening starting the upcoming 2021-2022 season. Obviously, this was rumoured a wee while ago that this potentially was going to happen. My thoughts are very mixed on it, because I was having a think about it before we started recording. I was thinking, well, I mean, if you get a tough draw and you go away and you get a 1-1, then you kind of fancy yourself back at Ibrox, even if it is like a draw, and vice versa. Now it's like, well, if a good team come to us and they get a draw, then they're going to be at home. So it's going to be a weird one to get used to, because you'll be constantly thinking about away goals. But Ali, what's your initial thoughts on UEFA getting rid of the away goal?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a while ago, and we said, I think we were in favour of, if it went to extra time, scrap the away goal at that point. But it's going all together now. It's one of these. We've benefited from it down the years, the away goal, as of tons of other teams. And again, vice versa, you've not benefited from it because the other teams went through. But I think it will change the way teams approach games now, because with the away goal, especially if you're away from home, you would maybe set up a lot defensively, maybe nick that goal, and that would be it. So I think a lot of teams will look at it maybe differently, approach games differently over the two legs. But yeah, I'm not over. I wouldn't say I'm upset at taking the away goal away. Is what it is. It makes it a more even playing field, kind of, if you want to say. So yeah, I'm kind of all for it, to be honest. And yeah, well, you need to beat the team over two legs, and if the away goal's gone, then it's I'm for it.
I think you'll see a lot more extra time and penalties now. I think that's almost for sure. But I say we'll need to wait and see whether it's going to benefit us or not. I mean, I might be gutted with it, and I might be all for it, depending on how the results fall for us. Scott, your thoughts on the away goal rule being no more?
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Really, it's I'll be happy with it if it doesn't impact us. But as soon as we go out, because where we would have went through last season, then I'll be angry about it. But you touched on it there, Carney. My biggest concern is there's probably going to be an awful lot more extra time, and asking teams to play another 30 minutes on top of what already is a massive fixture list that they've got to get through. That's my only concern. I think that you could see a lot more of that. But Ali's maybe right as well that you'll maybe lose some of these uber defensive displays that you can sometimes see when a team nicks a goal and just plays out for the 1-1 draw, or just don't concede another, or keep the scoreline as low as possible. We'll need to see how it plays out. I'm not fussed either way, to be honest. It's not a massive change that I'm disappointed in or hugely enthused about, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think UEFA used the reason for it being that it's an old rule, just based the unknown of European football, the way it used to be, but now it's so accessible. You kind of know exactly who you're going to play when you're going to play them, no matter who it is, no matter where it is. So, Jamie, are you for this, against it?
I'd probably agree with the thoughts on. We'll make that call once we see how we do, but we're a different prospect in Europe, and I think we're a different side. Like Ali says, it will probably change people's approaches, but I think over the past 2-3 years in Europe, we go out and attack these bigger teams. We'll play to counter, but we're going out to score in these games. So whilst, going back to the Europa or UEFA Cup final run with Smith, and we got so many 0-0 draws, 1-1 draws, and I can't remember whether we used a wee goal to our advantage, but it felt like we were scraping through those games. Don't get me wrong, again, we touched on it. If we qualify for the Champions League this year, it's going to be, we might be wishing that we had the away goal.
It's going to be tough, as I say. It's going to be one of the ones we're going to just need to wait and see. In terms of using the away goal, I think we just used defending to get the UEFA Cup final back then with Watty, but and a natural novel penalty. But I mean, we're going to need to wait and see. As I say, it will definitely change the way teams approach things. I know what you mentioned there, Jamie, that Rangers go out and attack. Rangers do go out and attack, but I think it's to try and get that away goal, it's to try and get yourself in the best position as possible for the return leg. So again, it's one of the ones you're going to need to wait and see. I think it's obviously they're trying their hardest to promote more attacking football, and for everybody just to play with kind of no holds barred and just make it as entertaining as possible. But I mean, we need to wait and see. We could be getting close to just having knockout football and not having leagues if this is the way it's going to go in terms of not having away goals and stuff. So we'll need to wait and see what with it if it's a good thing or a bad thing for us. So before we finish up on Rangers news, not really Rangers news, I'll come to you last for your wee bit, Ali. We'll just quickly round up the actual Rangers stuff. So there's obviously transfer season, and the one that's kind of floating about just now is Morelos has been heavily linked with Porto. The rumour is it's an offer between 12 and 15 million euros. Now, I think we were all expecting offers to going to start coming in. It's going to happen. These teams are going to make bids. Now, I think that's inevitable. But, Jamie, I'll come back to you, mate. What are you thinking? Is 12, 15 million euros enough? Should we be looking to keep Morelos as much as we can? Or if he does go to Porto, it's a rather good move for him, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I think it'd be a very good move for him. I think we probably will hold out for more in terms of transfer fee. I can't remember how long he's contracted to, but he'll be one of our highest earners. So, obviously, be gutted to see him leave, but I guess we need to be realistic. He's one of our most sellable assets, so it is inevitable, sadly. But I'd be holding out for a wee bit more than that.
Yeah, again, I think it's all down to the fact that it's one more year of his contract's gone and all this, and the way the football politics work. I'm not sure if the £20 million bid will come that the Rangers want. I'm not sure if it will happen with Morelos. I'm also not 100% certain that Morelos actually wants to leave. I think he's probably looking forward to Champions League football, so we need to wait and see, I think.
See, the other thing as well, I wouldn't be against, so say we're talking a 12 to 15 million euro fee, as long as we're clever with a sell-on fee, or a sell-on clause, sorry. Because let's be honest, if he goes and he tears it up at a team like Porto, where's he moving to next for even bigger money?
Yeah, James made a cracking point there. Rangers, if they are going to sell him, need to put a very sensible sell-on clause in there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, to be honest. I mean, 12 to 15 million euro. So in pounds terms, you're probably talking, 12 million euros is roughly just slightly over 10 million at the moment, just shy over 10 million. He's a year more into his contract from last year as well. You've also got to remember, we're in COVID times at the moment. A lot of teams, their finances haven't been the same as pre-COVID, so that comes into thinking as well. But no, Jamie's right, and I was thinking the same thing today actually about Morelos. If he goes to a Porto, who I think would be a good move for him, as a stepping stone to the next team, he could leave Porto for, if you don't know, 40 million, for instance. And if we put a 10 to 15% sell-on clause in that, then that gets you the money you wanted, kind of at the beginning in a roundabout way. So yeah, definitely. I mean, Rangers aren't daft. They'll put a sell-on clause in Morelos, definitely, because they know he'll go for big bucks again. So, yeah, I just still don't think he wants to go yet, Morelos. I just think he wants a wee crack at that Champions League. If we don't get into the group stage of the Champions League, he could leave. But I just think he wants a wee crack at it. This is the first year, I would say, I've not been... Every other year, I've expected him to go the last 2 seasons. This season, I don't expect him to go, which means you probably will.
But I think you're spot on there, mate. Scotia, your thoughts on the Morelos potentially going to Porto?
Yeah, that was what I was going to say. Really, I don't expect it. I don't feel worried this season that he'll leave. Therefore, I fully expect that it'll happen this season, because I don't feel that comfortable. On the sell-on clause point, yeah, we definitely need to do it. But I wonder, Helsinki have probably got a sell-on clause on him as well. So that 10 to or 12 to 15 million euros then gets reduced a wee bit further with their sell-on clause, because I assume they must have stuck something on him. So that you want to go a wee bit higher. But I think the problem you've got, none of our players are going to go to the top teams in Europe, your PSGs, your Bayern Munichs, etc. They're going to go either down south into the Premiership, where you're going to get the biggest amount of money back because they just spend money ridiculously down there, or they're going to go to a team like Porto, who they'll pay money that's more in keeping with what I would probably suggest the market probably is in reality, without the EPL inflating a lot of these prices up. So if he's going anywhere other than England, I think we're going to have to expect for a wee bit less than maybe that 20 million. But if it's down to England, then you maybe push it up further towards that 20 million mark.
Yeah, you're spot on there, mate. That's 100% right. If it is going to be England, then let's charge them an absolute fortune, because they can certainly afford it. But it's a very good point, mate. If it's going to be another European club, then might need to expect a wee bit less for them. But again, it's all about... I know Rangers are going to need to sell somebody. We keep saying it. We've said it a number of times. The model that Rangers are working to, it makes sense for us to have to sell on a player at some point. Whether it's going to be Morelos or not, again, we've got no idea. I would love if the wee man stayed for another year. I'm 50-50. I'll sit firmly on the fence with this one. I'm not sure if he'll leave or stay, but I think he wants a crack at the Champions League. But I mean, if the offer comes and the money's there, I think he'll probably go. But anyway, we'll move on to the one that we all know is probably not right. Let's be honest. Is Billy Gilmour to Rangers the very easy link for all media outlets to make? Chelsea have apparently said that they want Billy Gilmour to go out on loan. He's just had a a pretty decent Euros. Obviously, unfortunately, he caught COVID, and we obviously wish him the best and hope he's all right. But the link has obviously now been made to Rangers, and it's also very, very easy for certain media outlets to say this when we all know that he's actually going to go to Norwich, because I don't think he's going to come to Rangers. Ali, your thoughts on the Billy Gilmour thing? It's just all paper talk, really, isn't it?
I think so, to be honest. I mean, I read something about it was pretty much a done deal with Norwich. I mean, they've just come up from the Championship in England, and they play good football. Norwich, I watched them last year down the Championship. They do play good football. Do Chelsea want them to come to Scotland? I know we've got the European football. Do they really want them to come up here, or do they want them to go to Norwich and play week in, week out against teams he'll be playing against when he gets into that Chelsea team? I don't think they would send him here. I really don't. I know folk will say, aye, but we get Champions League, etc. We need to get there first. But I can just see Chelsea send him to a Norwich. I really do, because I mean, I would love to have him at Rangers. I really would. I mean, where you fit him in a team, because he plays that Steve Davis role. So Steve Davis would need to come out of the team probably. He's been one of our best players. So yeah, I think it's paper talk. I think you're correct. It'd be brilliant if he did come, but yeah, I think you'll go to a team in the Premiership in England, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, Jamie, we would love to have him at Ibrox, but I just think it's a bit unrealistic, to be honest, for Chelsea to send him here.
As you say, it'd be a shame in the boy. Where's he going to play? He'd be on the bench. It makes more sense for him to stay down south and get more Premier League experience. There's probably a whole host of teams in that Premier League that would be looking for a ball playing midfielder like him. So yeah, it makes sense. Norwich isn't that far from Chelsea as well. So paper talk.
Paper talk, mate. The easy link to make. Scotia, obviously, you're the Scotland diehard on this podcast, mate, so I reckon you'd be pretty foaming at the mouth if Billy Gilmour decided he was coming back to Rangers.
I would quite like it. I'd see earlier in the season, I think it'd get touted about as well, when he wasn't kind of featured under Tuchel down at Chelsea. It was getting touted about that he might go out and loan, and at that point I wasn't too keen on it, because our midfield was doing so well. But if it were to happen, I would like it. One of the things with Gilmour always gets me, it's a kind of what if moment. What if Gerrard arrived a season earlier before he went down to Chelsea? Obviously Gilmour done what was best for him in his career going down to Chelsea. But if Gerrard was coming in the door, does that tempt him to stay? And Tuchel might look at it as well, and look at the improvement in players like Glenn Kamara and Joe Aribo under Gerrard and the coaching team at Rangers at the moment, and say, well, actually, he's going out to get good European experience, and he'll be playing certain games, because although Davis has been excellent last season, although I did say this the season previously, I don't expect him to play anywhere near as much as he did this season. So it'd be interesting. I wouldn't be against the idea, to be honest, but I think it is lazy paper talk, easy link to make.
Yeah, the easy link, but it's one that keeps cropping up, so I just thought I'd mention it. But I don't see it happening. I really don't see it. So, Ali, that kind of rounds up the rest of the kind of Rangers news, but this one's up a particular... I mean, it's Rangers related in some ways, because we all like a good laugh. So, Ali, what would you want to talk about today?
The former Celtic manager, Neil Lennon's been doing a wee road... He's been doing a wee road show at the moment, which has been quite good. And to be fair, if he charged tickets for this road show, I think I'd go along it, to be honest, because it's been brilliant, some of the videos I've watched so far. But I mean, he was on TalkSport earlier in the week with Jim White, and obviously they're going to ask him about Steven Gerrard, and he was basically saying that he's done well, but he should have won more trophies, which to an extent you could probably agree with, to be honest. He did say Jim White did say to him, was he given too much time? And he did say, well, that's for you to answer that, Jim. So that wasn't the main one. It was the ones today that I seen that I sent you boys to in the group chat. He was doing a BBC Sports Sound, whatever it was, and he absolutely slaughtered Lee Griffiths today, and it was outstanding to watch. I mean, they must hate each other, but he basically said for 3 months that Griffiths will... Well, we were all off with the COVID, he took basically full wage and came back a stone overweight and absolutely slaughtered him for a good couple of minutes. If you haven't listened to it, go into Twitter and just put Lennon in, it comes up. It was brilliant. So we had to go at Lee Griffiths, which was brilliant, and then he was the SFA chief executive. Ian Maxwell was there as well, and they were asking about COVID protocols, and he was the next one to get it. So, and it was going away back to, obviously, when they went to Dubai, and Celtic had 100 buses apparently to bus one individual person per bus. And I don't think he could quite grasp the concept of the rule, Neil Lennon, because Maxwell was saying it's something you can do if you want, but I think the minimum was 2 buses. But if somebody tests positive, there's a certain radius in the bus where those people would need to self-isolate. So if you had more buses, it takes that equation out. There'd be less people, basically. And Lennon couldn't get his head around it, and he was foaming at the mouth. And the hurt from that last season is still right in him at the moment, and it is absolutely wonderful to see and hear. So, yeah, I'd imagine you guys looked at the video when I sent it in the group chat. And what was your thoughts on it? Did you have a chuckle like myself?
He's just on the let's set everything on fire tour and just let's see where everything is at the end of it. I mean, you would go so far to think that Celtic might be paying him to take the kind of heat off the fact that this Ange Postecoglou's come in and that's not the guy they wanted. It's unbelievable. I mean, he's obviously very, very upset with the way he's been treated at Celtic and the way that he's been forced to leave. But I mean, it's absolutely spectacular to watch. I mean, you're right. He could not grasp the COVID protocol and what the protocol was. He just couldn't do it. He was struggling to come to terms with it. But I mean, long may this continue. It's hilarious to watch, and it winds them up as well. So it's always good. He's getting an ad on that, boys.
I don't know how he's still defending that Dubai trip.
The inverted commas. He doesn't understand it.
I've not actually watched the whole thing because I watched the first part when he's talking about Lee Griffiths, and I found myself agreeing with him, and I was like, I can't be having this. So I stopped it. So I'll maybe need to go back and
watch the one with Maxwell, Scotia. Honestly, it's a brilliant one. That one.
Yeah, he's very upset about it, to be honest. He can't get his head round why the protocols they were changed directly for Celtic or something like that. Aye, okay, Neil. But aye, it's good. It's good that he's just continuing to set fire everything he comes anywhere near. It's brilliant. So we'll move on now to the Euros, and we're obviously going to discuss Scotland's rather poor performance in the Euros and kind of the way that they've exited the tournament. Scott, I'll come to you first, mate. You were at Hampden for the Czech Republic game, and I was pretty angry after that. I said the last podcast me and Ali done, I said that I found myself getting very angry after that. So I don't know how you must have felt, mate.
I was pissed off. Left before the full-time whistle, just not too far along, but just a couple of minutes left to go, and I was like, right, let's get out of here. Very disappointed with that game. As soon as I seen the team, I was like, that's the wrong team he's picked. So was not happy one bit with that.
What was it like being back in the stadium?
Aye, it was really good. It didn't seem too different than normally. I mean, I've been in Hampden when there's been less than that amount of fans in it for a Scotland game anyway. I mind we played Austria in a friendly once. And me and my pal went up to I think we came in at the Celtic end, and they'd opened up the big barriers they have between there and the North Stand, and they just went, sit wherever you want. And to be fair, I've actually also been to Ibrox when there's been that amount of fans, like in one of the early rounds of the League Cup on a Wednesday night in the middle of November. So that didn't surprise me too much. You were maybe 4 or 5 seats between the people in your row, although you did have people right in front of you, which there didn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to the spacing in that respect. But no, felt normal, really. Obviously, all the kiosks and stuff were closed. I know I mentioned previously we did have a set period that we were told that we had to go into the ground. I think ours was between 11 and half 11, but it transpired that was just advisory. So we ended up walking.
So you stayed in the pub.
We did, yes. My cousins actually went on there a lot of time, so they were in the stadium for like the whole 2 or 3 hours before kick-off. They seem to enjoy it well enough, but we decided to make some extra use of the time in the pub before we went along. But it seemed all okay at that point. The only concern I would have, obviously, news has come out this week that it's going to be 2,000 fans in it.
Yes.
Scottish grounds going forward, which is ridiculous. That's another matter. But if you're doing staggered entry times, for instance, in a midweek game, that could be quite difficult. But given it's a fewer numbers, maybe not too bad. But if you had like a ridiculous need to be in the stadium 2 or 3 hours before kick-off on a Wednesday evening, folk, need to change their work plans completely to deal with that. I mean, it's bad enough for me normally to get away from work in time to go to the game on a weekday at the moment, or in normal times. So just keep an eye on that.
Yeah. Obviously you've touched on the decision that's came out that there'll be 2,000 fans now and not 12,000, because that's just the way our government works. Was very backwards, and I've said it a million times. She's just waiting with her finger on the button. As soon as the UEFA and the Euros have left Scotland, she will push the button and we will go back. Glasgow, I think Glasgow City especially, will go back a level. I think she can't wait to do that, and it just means it's more restrictions on football for Rangers and for Celtic. So we'll discuss the Croatia game. Now, Croatia were a good team. I know there was this whole they're an aging team, they're this and they're that. Scotland did well to get back into the game. I won't lie. At half time, to get in at one each, I was like, that's good. Get a wee bit of positivity. And then, Ali, why does Steve Clarke not change things? And even see the Modric goal before we get torn into Scotland too much. It's a great goal by Modric, right? It's an unbelievable finish, but that goal was preventable. It could have been stopped. I literally just said to the missus, we were sitting watching it together, I said, they're going to concede here. I was at Scotland, will concede here. Look at what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. Modric's goal, literally 10 seconds after I'd said that. Why does he wait then till 75 minutes before he decides to make any sort of change? And it's the wrong change, let's be honest.
Yeah, I was through in Edinburgh this week for work, and I was speaking to guys through there, and one of the guys said one word which describes Steve Clarke quite well, and it was, he's a dinosaur. And I thought, no, you're bang on. To be fair, I looked at the team lineup when it first came out. The midfield wasn't right for me. Armstrong is wasted in that midfield three. He's a forward-thinking player. I think Scotia actually said in a group chat he would have brought John Fleck in there. Somebody more defensive, put their foot in the ball. I'd agree with Scotia. I thought Armstrong was wasted there. But Scotland got out of jail the first half. Let's be honest about it. Croatia knocked that ball. They passed Scotland off the park the first half. We went in at one each. And I thought, we've got out of jail. A lot of folk are saying he should have changed it at half-time. Yeah, you can. But when you go one each with those players, you probably need to give them in the next 5-10 minutes to see if you get that reaction. You could tell after 5 minutes, the second half, there was no reaction. Again, Croatia, put the ball in the deck, knocked it about, just moved us all over the park. At that point, I would have made the change. I would have taken... I don't want this to sound like we're bashing Stephen O'Donnell on this podcast, but I'm not. He had, and I'll admit this, he had a good game against England on the Friday night, along with all the other players. He played well. But I've said it in this show, he's limited. We had to go and win that game against Croatia. And you've got a boy on the bench, Nathan Patterson, who will give... You've seen O'Donnell in that game. He would go so far to the park and check back, play the ball back, because that's not his game. And you can't blame the guy. That's not his game. You've got a boy, Nathan Patterson, who would go up and down that wing all day long for you. And to make the changes, not even after 2-1, but after 3-1, the game's dead. It baffles me, absolutely baffles me. And they got what they deserved, Scotland. They really did. We had that wee high in the Friday night where they did well against England, and they did do well, Scotland. They showed a lot of heart, a lot of fight. They were closing England team down. And a lot of people went into this game thinking Croatia, like you said, they're an aging team. They're not as good as they are. Croatia's a good team, and they came and showed that. They schooled Scotland as well. They know how to do it. I just thought we went back to olden time football, if you want to call it, with London Dykes up there. Let's just go route one and try and hit him. That's not going to work. Get the ball on the deck and try and play. Lyndon Dykes is limited as well. To me, he's a squad player to bring on to change it slightly. I would have kept Che Adams on and put Nisbet playing off him. And like I say, Armstrong wasn't working in the midfield either. But that was my thoughts on it. It was disappointing, but I wasn't shocked with Steve Clarke, to be honest, because that's what you get when you hire a Kilmarnock manager.
Yes, it is, mate. That is exactly what you get when you hire a Kilmarnock manager. Jamie, this whole let's be proud we got there just won't cut the mustard for me. Are you in agreement in that this is a very disappointing tournament for Scotland, and we should never have been in the position in the first place to have them to get a win against Croatia?
It is really disappointing. I think going back to your point around the squad and how it's been used and how we've set up, really disappointing that we never went for it in the first game. Really good performance against England, as you've alluded to. I think just going back to that point around, wasting people or playing them out of position, I really don't like seeing McTominay at centre-back. I think he's best in central midfield. I would have made that change. I know Souness had mentioned as well at the end of the game about maybe pulling one of the strikers back into the midfield and, like you say, at the beginning of the second half, trying to get a hold of the ball, try and get onto the ball, whereas it just wasn't working and we were just so slow. But yeah, I get it's been a big achievement for us to qualify, but to just accept that it's good to be there, it's not good enough.
No, I think it's our first time we've been in a major tournament for 23 years, but it's our worst performance in a tournament for over 60 years or something like that. I can't remember what the stat was. I've seen it somewhere. Scotia, I'll finish up with you on Scotland, mate. What's next for Scotland? Does Steve Clarke stay in his role as manager?
Well, we've already buggered up the qualification for Qatar 2024, haven't we? Or 2022. Didn't get off to the greatest of starts there, so we've got a work cut out of us for that one. So it might need to look like another Nations League kind of getting through that way. The big problem you've got is you get rid of him. Who's the manager? Who do you bring in? No one screams to my mind. So I don't know. Give him a wee bit. I mean, Ali said, and Jamie have said it, they got the team wrong again on Tuesday night there. Fleck would have been, I think, a more like for like. Obviously, Gilmore's a far better player, but it would have been a more like for like change. Having Armstrong on the pitch meant that him and McGinn were negating each other. Whereas ideally, Fleck there, it means McGinn can go and do what McGinn does best. There was the point when Hanley got pulled up with his injury. He brings on bloody McKenna. I mean, I would have brought on Cooper first, but there was also an opportunity, I thought, there to push O'Donnell inside to play in the right centre-back role and have Patterson as your right wing-back. That would have been a wee bold option at that point. But he brings on McKenna, and McKenna's first involvement in the game is to get booked. And then that kind of buggers him for the rest of the game. So wrong decisions, wrong subs. He got England spot on. No complaints. England was spot on. Probably should have taken a few chances there. I was disappointed that we didn't actually come away with more than a draw there. But wrong subs. So it doesn't fill me with huge amounts of confidence. And the next defeat, and if we get beat, I've not looked at who we play next, and the next sort of couple of qualifier games, I imagine they'll be September time usually. But if we lose or drop points in any of them, then the World Cup qualification through that group stage is out the water. So it'll need to be Nations League next year to look to get Qatar.
Scotia, can I ask you something? I've listened to a lot of, after all these games, and I listened to Super Scoreboard in the car today when I was away up to Dundee, and there's a lot of people coming on going, Scotland, so-called, so you want to come, so I know you're a die-hard Scotland fan, there's so-called ones coming on going, oh, I'm proud of the team, we got there. I think these are people that have just come out to watch Scotland. They've never watched a football game in their life. They don't understand football. And see, if you're going to accept mediocre, you're going to get it after the rest. You need to strive to be better. And I just think these people that have come out and went, oh, we're proud of them. They got there. They got through there through a back door, let's be honest. They didn't get there the way you should get there. They had 2 home games at Hampden, which was another advantage, and they still made an arse of it. So are you in that camp of these people that go, I'm still proud of them, they did well, or are you like me in terms of a football head on me saying, no, sorry, it's not good enough, they got it completely wrong, apart from the England game?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not fully with them. There is a degree of, you're proud of them, but there needs to be that next step to be better than that. You can't just accept, as you say, you can't just accept the mediocrity. You know, Carney made a good point. It's been our worst. Usually in World Cup or European Championship games, group games, we'll win one against one of the best nations that's in the tournament. We'll draw against a team that's relatively similar to us, and we'll get gubbed by some unknown team. That's usually the script with Scotland. This year was even worse. No, you can't. There needs to be more, but there is. I don't want to say that there isn't any pride there that they got there and stuff like that. There is that, but it stops, and then the next point is you need to be going on better than that. I think what you'll find is an awful lot of the people that are saying this type of thing, with all due respect, won't be a fan of Rangers. So they're more used to settling for that. As a Rangers fan, you expect to win every game. So there's a slightly different mindset between Rangers collectively as a whole and what they see as success and what Scotland as a whole sees as success, because they're 2 different teams and different levels of like the places they play.
Yeah, but I generally I tweeted it that this whole, I do generally believe this whole we should just be proud we got there is just birthday card pish, to be honest, because Scotland really should have done better. I don't think there's really any doubt about it, and they did get it wrong. So we'll wait and see what the future holds for Scotland. So obviously the road to the final has now started, if you like, and there's some interesting ties, to be honest. Obviously we've got the standard England v Germany match that we have to have at every tournament so they can ram 1966 down your throat any chance they get, and Belgium v Portugal looks particularly intriguing, but Wales will obviously fancy their chances as well, getting through against Denmark. Jamie, I'll come to you, mate. Is there any particular ties you're looking forward to, and who's your favourite?
Belgium, Portugal's probably the standout fixture. That side of the draw is just absolutely mental. Italy, Belgium, Portugal, France, Croatia, Spain. Like, I genuinely couldn't pick who's going to get through there. I mean, I've actually put money on Italy, but God knows. Honestly, don't know who's going to get through there. Although, one team actually I think that are going to do quite well are Sweden. I was really surprised. They obviously topped a group, but they've got Ukraine, and they'll play the winner of England v Germany. I don't know, I've just got a sneaky feeling. I think Sweden are going to do well.
Big Phil Hollander to score a header in the final to win it for them. I'd love to see that. I think England, if England get through and beat Germany and actually show up and start playing a bit of football, England, they're in the good side of the draw, as you've just mentioned, mate. The left hand side is crazy, man. Like every team that's got a chance of winning, that's kind of on that side. So I think England if they show up and start playing a bit of football, they could possibly get themselves to the final. And if Wales do well, there's a potential for a Wales and England semi-final at Wembley as well, which is madness. Ali, as well, any ties you're particularly looking forward to, and is your favourite for it still France?
Yeah, I mean, I got an email from my work today because I work for an English company saying because the England game kicks off at 5 o'clock, if you want to use annual leave,
finish early
or finish early for it and work it back. And I was going to write an email, you guys get pumped anyway, so I didn't. But no, I mean, probably England, Germany is probably the pick in there, as Jamie said as well. You've also got Belgium, Portugal. I mean, last night's games were absolutely mental. I think Portugal were in first, second, third, and fourth all the way through that night, so that was mental. The one I've quite enjoyed watching Wales, and I think Scotland can learn a lot from Wales. They've shown quite a wee bit. I couldn't tell you many of their players, Wales, apart from Ramsey, Bale, and there's a few others in there, but they look like a team, Wales. They look like a team that know each other inside out. And when they played Turkey, I was very impressed with them. And even against Italy, I thought they were decent. So I think Wales have got a right good chance against Denmark. I know Denmark had a good result in their last game, but the Wales-Denmark one for me on Saturday when we're out, obviously, I think that's a good one, and I'm looking forward to that. I think Wales could put Denmark out. I really do.
Yeah, I think Wales would fancy their chances as well. Scott, obviously Scotland are out now, and we all know anybody that's been around you or been unfortunate enough to be around you once you've had a couple of beers know that you love Italy, mate. So who are you going for, mate? Who's your favourites?
My two picks, I put two bets on at the start of the tournament for France and Italy. France haven't really impressed me, to be honest, so far. They've not been hitting top gear. I think Italy have been. But the other team that's really impressed me during those group stages were the Netherlands. In particular, that boy Dumfries that plays right back for them. He's looked really good. So I've been really impressed with Netherlands. They've got the Czech Republic, so they've got a decent chance of getting through that. Italy or Netherlands for me would be ideal. Got some sort of family connection to both of those countries as well. So that's always a good. And I've got their tops, some of their old retro tops, so I can get them out and wear them. So
and you like Italian gin as well.
Oh,
you do. Amalfi, is it Amalfi? Isn't it
Amalfi gin. That's quite nice.
It's a good gin, that. But yeah, I mean, as I say, this is the start of the real proper big games now, obviously. But I mean, some interesting ties. But I think if England buck up their ideas, they've got a good chance of getting somewhere. As much as it pains me to say, I think they could do well if they start playing with the potential that they have with the players that they have within that team. But I'll probably still go with France. I think either France or Italy to win it. I think, and good luck to Wales. I've got a bit of family connection to Wales, so good luck to Wales. I hope they progress well. I hope they get through against Denmark, and then they've got an all bad shout as well. I know they will probably come up against the Dutch, but I mean, you never know. It's knockout football, isn't it? So we'll wait and see. But that'll do us for tonight, gentlemen. A wee bit longer than usual, but quite a lot to get through. So as always, Ali, thank you very much for your time, mate.
No problem. I'll see you all on Saturday.
Saturday, mate. Yeah, Jamie, thanks very much for your time, mate.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to Saturday as well.
Yeah, can't wait for it. And Scott, thanks very much, mate.
Yeah, thanks, guys. One more day to the weekend.
One more day, mate. Payday tomorrow as well, mate. Cannot wait. I'm literally skint, so cannot wait to get paid tomorrow. But yes, I'm sure I'll spend it all on Saturday, put it that way. But looking forward to it. So just time for me to do my shameless plug, obviously. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like the videos, give us a wee 5-star review on Apple Podcast, leave a comment and share anywhere that you can. It really does support us and really makes a huge difference. Thank you to everybody for listening, especially if you listened right to the very end. Really do appreciate it. And keep your eyes out on the YouTube channel and our socials for Monday. I've got a wee special video coming on Monday, so keep your eye out for that. So that'll do us. We are Club at 22, the Champions Podcast, and we'll speak to you all next time. Cheers.